Hey everyone, it's Pastor David here. It's once again time to grab you something warm and yummy and let's talk Go and Tell. Speaking of warm and yummy, warm and yummy, I talk for a living, as you can tell. Check out the new Know and Do mugs. Knowing God deeply and doing what brings Him the most glory, or doing what glorifies Him the most. That's kind of our big vision statement moving forward as a church. Know and do. It falls right in line with things like make disciples and go and tell. I mean, all of that is just wrapped up in what it means to know God deeply and do the things that brings Him the most glory. So I'm going to be enjoying my afternoon coffee in my new Know and Do mug. What I want to do today is I want to talk to you about mission trips. We have been in a bit of a dry spell on mission trips because of wars and rumors of wars and other things like that. And so 2025 is going to be a year of getting back into mission trips. Now, it's not always going to mean all the mission trips are going to be present in 2025, but efforts are being made to get these things back online. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the most recent Spain vision trip and our partnership with Madrid that we're working on. I want to talk to you about the fact that for the first time ever in the church's history, and honestly for the first time ever in any of our history, regardless of what church we've served with, your staff are going on a mission trip together. How cool is that? And then I want to give you an update on our wisdom seekers and what does that look like from a mission trip perspective. So before we get into it, this is your time. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our Go and Tell YouTube channel. That helps us out a lot. So go ahead and mash whatever buttons you need to do to make that happen in your life so that you can get every update that we put out here on the Go and Tell YouTube channel. So now let's talk Madrid. So a couple of weeks ago, Pastor Josh, myself, and another church member, we went to Madrid, Spain, as well as Barcelona, Spain. It was a big vision trip put on by the Southern Baptist Convention of Virginia, the SBCV. They organized this, and it was us and other pastors from across the state. And we were going to go put eyes on two works that the IMB, International Mission Board, are doing in Spain to reach North African immigrants that are coming into that country. And the reason why we wanted to do this vision trip was mainly because two things. We wanted to find a place to engage in missions that didn't have the same security restrictions as our work among the wisdom seekers in the mountains of Nain. Number two, we wanted to find something that would allow us to sort of bridge the gap between work overseas and work in our own community. And because we have a lot of Muslims and many from North African backgrounds here in the Woodbridge area and across the DMV, Spain looked like a good thing for us to look into. A bonus is that we get to partner with our state convention in making disciples of all nations. And so we went, we met with the team from Barcelona, the team from Spain. We saw the work in both places. We prayer walked both areas, just really kind of just took in the reality of lostness there and the needs. And so the long story short is that as we've been praying really for months now for this trip and what God would be doing through our church, is we felt that the direction that the Spirit was leading us was to partner with the team in Madrid. Uh, Barcelona is a much more further developed work with more partnerships. It's got a lot of time under its belt, a lot of experience under its belt, and that's absolutely fantastic. Madrid, however, is a much newer work, and they're building that team and they're building that work. And so we felt that it would be good for our church to get in on as close to the ground floor as possible on a work overseas, so that as we're serving and learning together, we're sort of growing up with that team and in that work in Madrid. And so we are going to be pursuing that partnership. Now, there are no details at this time, because the way this works on a vision trip, particularly with IMB, is you go, you see, you listen, you pray it through it, then you let them know, hey, we would like to pursue this. And then the ball starts to kind of roll through a series of meetings and conversations that forms what that partnership is going to look like. And so we've done the vision trip. We have said yes to we want to do a partnership in Madrid, and now we are waiting for the first of what will be a series of conversations to take place that's going to form up that partnership. But what this is going to mean in general is that there will be opportunities for trips in the future, most likely in 2026, because it does take a while for these things to get formed up. If Let me go ahead and give you a disclaimer. If you've grown up in the church for over the last 30 to 40 years, and you've seen a lot of things happen rapidly in short-term missions where you can sort of pull the trigger quickly and send lots and lots of people to a location, groups of like 20, 30, sometimes even more, those days really are behind us, because all that's left to reach are the hardest to reach. And you can't jump into those quickly. They're not turnkey. And number two, you typically cannot send 20, 30 or more people at one time on these trips, especially when you're engaging in an urban area. And there's a lot of logistical considerations, there's security considerations, especially working with North Africans. And so do not be surprised moving forward when we talk about trips. We're really talking about a handful of people being able to go. That's going to be across the board because all the easy places are taken. We've been there, we've done that. Hey, and praise God, churches have been established, and some of those churches are now sending churches, and they're sending missionaries to make disciples of all nations as well. And so we are engaging in some of the last corners of darkness in this world, and it just looks different, and you got to approach it a little bit more differently than before. And so it's going to take a little time to work those things out. But there will be opportunities for trips. There will be opportunities to engage in prayer for the people there. But there will also be at the same time opportunities here locally because of all the Muslims we have in our own community. And so as we're learning what does it mean to engage and share the gospel with Muslims there, that translates into opportunities for us to engage and share the gospel with Muslims right here in our own backyard as we engage with the nations next door. And that's an exciting 1-2 opportunity that we have here at the church. And so this is going to be good for us as a church. Again, as we grow with this work, we eventually see the possibility of even adopting a neighborhood. If you were with us recently in Sunday morning gathering for worship, you heard Pastor Josh mention that because in Madrid, the North Africans, they live in these certain neighborhoods where they've established themselves. And when you step into those neighborhoods, you immediately leave the Spanish population behind and you step into a whole new world that is very North African. A lot of Moroccans and things like that, Algerians and whatnot, where the names on the store signs quickly change, and all of a sudden everything is halal, everything is North African, Moroccan cuisine, and the people, the faces, they change as well. And so there are very distinct neighborhoods in Madrid, and our IMB teams do a great job, but you know what? There are only a few people in a sea of millions of lost that are there. There's probably around 1 million or so North African migrants in Madrid. It's a lot of people for just a small handful to reach, and we're going to be joining them in that effort. And so we do see possibility of down the road as we get established, adopting a neighborhood and sort of making that ours in the same way that we've adopted a people group with the Wisdom Seekers. So it's very exciting. I know it's going to take some waiting on our part while we work out the details, but all that's worth it to do this right, to do it well, so that we are fully invested for the long term in reaching North Africans in Madrid and here in Woodbridge and the DMV. So let me also talk to you a little bit about, as we transition from Spain back to here, I mentioned that your staff is going to do something that we've never done before, not as staff anywhere or even as a church here at FBCW. We're going to take a mission trip together. And in fact, we are leaving on Sunday, February the 9th. So if you're watching this after it's posted, it's this coming Sunday. And we are going to go up to New York City. And there in the Bronx is one of the Send Relief community centers. Now, you may already know that we partner with the Send Relief Community Center in Baltimore. That's the Transformation Center. Teams go up there. We're also the Peanut Butter Church for their feeding ministry. But this is a ministry center in the Bronx called Graffiti 2. And they are right there in the heart of the Bronx, reaching those people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they make trips available to any of our churches. And it just so happened, as we were looking for what might we do for our winter staff retreat, we tossed out the idea, what about a mission trip together? I mean, we are a go and tell church. We believe in making disciples of all nations. And we are already, as a staff, we're developing this concept of know and do for our church. And we just like, hey, let's kind of put our money where our mouth is as a staff. I mean, we've been involved in missions individually, but what about collectively, getting a chance to serve shoulder to shoulder on mission in a different capacity than what we normally do during the week here as your church staff? And so we love the idea. Pastor Jeff and I kind of made some contacts, had some initial conversations, and this looked like a great thing for us to do, a good opportunity. And so then Pastor Jeff kind of ran with it, getting all the logistic worked out for us. And so we're going to join Graffiti 2 on mission there in the Bronx. Excuse me. We're going to be doing everything from after-school programs, tutoring. Y'all especially pray for Pastor David. If these kids need help in math, God help them. It is not going to go well. But we're going to do our best. We're going to be involved in tutoring. We're going to be doing some Bible studies for kids and for students, kids and students, teens that come to this center. We're going to get into God's Word with them and teach them from the Bible and let them hear the gospel. We're going to be working in some community-based projects, just meeting needs, and they also operate a coffee shop as a kind of a ministry front, and we're going to get a chance to participate in that as well. So it's going to be a full week. They got our days and evenings planned out for us. And so we'll catch the train out of Washington, D.C. Sunday afternoon, get up to the Bronx sometime that evening, and then we'll catch the train coming back home the following Saturday. So it's going to be a great time. So I want you to be in prayer for us as a staff as we go and we spend this week together and serve. We do staff retreats couple of times a year. It's about 3 days together. This is 6 full days together. And so we've jokingly been like, oh my goodness, we've never had this much time together. But honestly, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great as we just bond a little bit deeper by serving together and doing some things shoulder to shoulder. I get a chance to work with some of the staff in some different ways than we have in the past. And so we're excited about this opportunity. And I hope we can make it a regular rhythm of what we do as a staff in being engaged on mission. So Madrid, moving forward with that. Your staff is going on mission to the Bronx for Graffiti 2 with Send Relief this Sunday. But now let me talk to you a little bit about the Wisdom Seekers. This is one of the things that has been just a bedrock of engagement for us as a church since about 2018, and really in earnest since about 2022, when we were really putting fourth teams after COVID. That work continues to go very well despite our absence from the field, which is a great reminder that whose work is this? It's God's work. It's not FBCW's, it's God's. And so he wants the wisdom seekers to come to faith. He desires them to be around his throne there with that that great image we see in Revelation 7 of all the nations, languages, and tongues around the throne worshiping God. He is preparing that scene by bringing wisdom seekers to faith in Jesus Christ. But here's some good news. We've been out of team sending for over a year now because of the conflict in the Middle East. As you follow the news, you see things that are happening in the Middle East, ceasefires, hostage exchanges, government collapses that are leading to new governments, a lot of different things happening over there, things that have been security risk factors for us are now beginning to not go away, but become less of an issue. So, what does that mean for trips? Well, we are going to be prayerfully optimistic about 2025 as it relates to re-engaging the wisdom seekers. Here's what needs to happen. We need eyes on the ground to be able to tell us what it looks like for our church to re-engage. Now, it's always been relatively safe, even during the conflict. There have been some times when that physical risk has been heightened, but for the most part, the risk that we've been concerned with is the risk of bringing undue attention to the work. Because as Americans coming in to an airport controlled by a terrorist organization with our blue passports, we would have been basically followed, and it could have been a risk to not ourselves and not even to the team, but to the work itself. And it's better for us to not go so that the gospel can continue than for us to go and all of a sudden you're bringing a very wicked organization down on the work that God is doing. Now, does God persevere through persecution? Absolutely, he does. But this is not a risk that we felt was wise for us to take, putting the work at risk. And so it looks like that risk is way down, but we're going to put eyes on it. So when our national partner goes back, most likely in March, he's going to do a good, thorough job of just observing, asking the right questions, and reporting back to us to say either let's wait a few more months or, you know what, green light, this is good, let's move forward. Because a lot of positive things have happened in the last a couple of months over there. The country that we serve has a new president and a new prime minister for the first time in over 2 years. That's huge. They've functionally been without a government for over 2 years. And so they are working to put together a government. Right now it's not fully in place, but they're working towards that. Both the president and prime minister are fiercely against the known terrorist organization in that country that's been running that country for years now. And so that's positive for a lot of reasons. Also because we are serving over there close to another volatile country. That country now has a new government. And right now, all indications are that should be a positive transition for that country and should sort of lower tensions a little bit. We've never been in any danger because of that country, but anytime tensions can be lowered, it's a good thing. So, guys, God is moving. God knew what was happening with these conflicts, with the war over there, and God is in control as he's put in new leadership in this country and neighboring countries, bringing about ceasefires, things like that. And so it could be. Now, I'm talking hypothetical. This is no promise. We're going to see what the report is this spring. But it could mean that if everything is good, we could send a small contingency from FBCW, maybe early summer, possibly, to ourselves put eyes on it, just to sort of reintroduce ourselves to the work. Um, you know, we've done this online, encouraging, training, teaching online, and it would be good to just be able to kind of go and literally wrap our arms around that national team and love on them and spend some face time with them, teaching them, encouraging them before sending a team, which would likely be in the fall. So again, that's everything I said could happen or maybe not happen. So that's just hypothetical. That's just kind of a thought, but it's a matter of prayer. And we want you to be praying for this as we're all eager to get back to the Wisdom Seekers and join that work. But at the same time, we are praising God that as much as He desires our participation, He doesn't need us. And that's good. It's humbling. And it's encouraging. But when we can go, we want to go, and we will go. That's our intention. So we're not putting Wisdom Seekers on the back burner. Madrid does not take its place. It's there to be yet another option alongside the Wisdom Seekers for us to engage the nations. And so these three things are things that we know are happening. Madrid moving forward, staff trip to the Bronx happening, and re-engagement of Wisdom Seekers likely this year. We will see, and we will prayerfully await an answer on that. But here's the deal. That's not all. There are other things that we're working on, things that I can't give you any details on right now. Maybe in the coming months, we'll see. Again, things take time as we build relationships with potential partners. There is an opportunity likely coming online very soon for upperclassmen students, 11th and 12th graders. Once we kind of have some things ironed out for that and we can say that's a go, I'm going to jump in here and tell you about it first. So be watching for that. Another opportunity that is very, very, very early in the conversation stage is, what does it look like for us to have a domestic North American partnership? We have a lot of church planters out there that are reaching lost populations, cities, rural areas, and it is tough planting a church, and they need partners. And so we're asking the question, God, is there a church partnership that is soon to get off the ground or is right now getting off the ground that we can come alongside and be a blessing to them as they are engaging lostness where they are and seeking to plant a church that not only makes disciples but plants other churches. So, excuse me. If I had the time, I'd edit out all my coughing, but guess what? I don't. So, sorry. But yeah, we want to see what might that look like. And so when that comes on, if it comes on, again, I'll get on here and I'll let you guys know first. So that's why you need to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because I spill the beans before we make it known to the church. So if you want in on the early access information, this is where you want to go. You want to find it out here. So a lot of great things that God is doing for us as a church, locally, internationally. Be in prayer for it. It's all part of what does it mean for us to know God deeply and do the things that bring Him the most glory. And so as these things come on, please know that they must stay a matter of prayer. Everything begins with prayer, and prayer runs through all of it. But also know that we're in it for the long haul. And so we're not looking to add small, one-time, one-off projects. We want to work through our convention partnerships, International Mission Board, North American Mission Board, Send Relief, to kind of blaze a path forward for us as a church as we look to develop our process and opportunities for engaging in short-term missions. And we hope that these engagements will lead some of you, some in our congregation, to consider long-term engagement. I'll be honest, I would love to see someone from our church say, I want to be a missionary in Spain, reaching North Africans. I will learn the language, I will go, and that's someone that we can put through our pipeline and train them, get them through with IMB, and put them on the field. That would be amazing. My hope is that we have someone say, you know what, I feel called to plant a church. We can identify with them, a place where a church is needed, and put them through our pipeline and train them up and send them out as a church to get a new gospel-believing, gospel-teaching church off the ground. So many wonderful opportunities that we have by engaging in short-term missions. So that's all I've got to say. Get your Know and Do mug if you haven't already, and we look forward to working side by side together as we make disciples as we go and tell, because that is how we glorify God in all that we say and do, by being where he needs us to be, telling the gospel to those he wants us to tell, and seeing him work to bring redemption and reconciliation to the lost, so that those who were his enemies can now be counted with us as his family. And so I love you, love working alongside you. Thank you for your prayers, and see you guys next time.